this career is about 2% my talent. The other part of it is, if I wrote a movie based on my father's life, even if Morgan Freeman walks in, if he doesn't feel like the essence of Mac Freeman, he ain't getting a role. Yeah. Lawrence Fishburne comes in, I don't know. Denzel Washington, I don't know. There might be a new actor who walks in off the street and I'm like, that is him. So it's the essence that does the job. So what does that mean? I need to take care of my essence.
Filmmaker Magazine presents Back to One with Peter Rinaldi.
Cassandra Freeman is an actor. She sat down with me on the Upper West Side of Manhattan to talk about the work.
Do you have a typical way you like to begin your preparation process when you get a new character? Like, is there a typical first step that you take to kind of wrap your arms around this new person that you have to play?
It's a very woo-woo answer. I do like a prayer. I sort of open myself up spiritually and intellectually, but spiritually, I say, well, God, reveal in me what the person on the other side needs to see to gain healing.
Wow.
Or to be seen. And in that, there's a surrender, and things come out I would never imagine. You know, I'm a trained actor. You know, I went to, an arts high school, and I went to undergrad for BFA, and I have an MFA from NYU. I did a lot of training. But I think for me, the thing that was missing was this is like a spiritual sort of shamanistic kind of work.
Yes.
So that's a big part of my entryway. I'm not an academic when I do these things.
Was that always the case?
No.
Was it that your spiritual side was growing and that's what connected you? Or were you realizing you needed something else besides the academic side to do this work?
Yeah, I feel like when I was learning all the academic things, they were never talking about the flow that hits you or the sense of surrender that has to happen for you to lock into that other gear.
Yeah.
Like, no one talks about that.
Nope.
But I guess you need all the muscle, all that training. So then when someone says action, a lot of things stay, but this other thing is allowed to come through. So as I got older and older, I became I think that's where my spirituality came from, because anybody who does anything great talks about a moment where everything else disappears.
Yes.
And so you start to wonder what that thing is about. And so this part of my life, it's been really heavy on that. And so I did some research and looked at so if he were based on Stanislavski and Uta Hagen and Chekhov and all these people, what is it like maybe like in Africa? Like, how do they look at acting?
Yeah.
And the bit of research I did was they're really big on you're meant to call in your ancestors. And so you call in your ancestors to guide you to be like a channel. And then I thought, wait a minute, acting is channeling.
Yep.
It's channeling work. You're quieting certain parts of yourself down to turn up other parts.
Yep.
And that made me feel so seen. I thought, and the other thing I learned in Africa, doing this bit of research, was they have their fourth wall is not our fourth wall. So in the world of theater, TV, film, we talk about fourth wall, which is the audience, right? But the fourth wall is the audience being included in the story. So the audience will talk. It's like all the things that are so black, so African Americans, don't go to a theater full of black people, right? Because we'll be like, what you doing, girl?
Yeah.
No, that is literally in our DNA.
It's in the DNA. Yeah.
You're supposed to be a part of the story.
Wow.
And so I think that's why my favorite part of acting or even communicating is with other people. You need other people there to witness what is happening.
Yes. I think if people have been listening to this podcast, I think they would have heard that so many great actors are saying something circling around what you just said, but they don't know how to process it. Especially the channeling thing. They would never use that word. Some of them have.
I'm surprised I even said it today, but that's what it is.
But it's something like that, right? And it's also about sometimes roles come to people when they need it at that moment.
Yes.
Right?
Big
and
time.
then they're able to what is that about?
Right. That's why I said the shamanistic thing.
Yes.
It's very shamanistic how these when roles find my friends, I call them, I was like, listen, what is going on? Because this is very specific kind of work. And it's never a coincidence. Even this character of Aunt Viv on Bel Air came to me because before this, I did another show that was very much in the pain of what it is to be an African-American person in America. It was so heavy on trauma. And when I walked out of that job, I called my people up and said, I can't do anything else. Like, I don't want to cry about anybody else in this type of genre. I said, the way I look and feel about life, I want to just talk about the existential questions of life. Like, why can't I just dress beautiful, be beautiful, and talk about like life as a woman, life being a mom, And the next thing that came through the door was this. And I almost didn't audition for it. And I was like, well, no, not this, because it's such an iconic character. What are we talking about? And they're like, it's all the things you just said. And I was like, yeah, but, and this role, she's never sitting around talking about, it's so hard to be Black. Like, that's not a real thing. Like, I don't sit around talking about, it's so hard to be Black. There are times when there are acute moments in society where you're like, this Black thing is really heavy on people, isn't it? And then you go back to your life.
Yeah. I don't want to sound like a preacher here, but I feel like I need to say this. How many times have we said, yeah, but to God? Right?
We say, yeah, but but I have a plan here, guys. Okay, so I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Oh, yeah, but thank you for saying that.
Right? And I heard you say that it also was that you didn't have a lot in common with this character. Right?
No, I do have a lot in common.
Oh.
But I would never, who she is in my mind, if you grew up with the show, she's such on a pedestal that to me, she might as well be like on another planet.
Yes.
So I am not her in that kind of way.
Yeah.
Also, me, Cassandra Freeman, is not necessarily like Aunt Viv. Like the way Aunt Viv projects herself from the world is someone who's very much more pragmatic, stable, a calm, unifying, warm force. And she gets a little messy, but it's still like confined. I'm not confined like that. Like I'm much more messier, way more bohemian and spiritual and way sillier. Like I used to be a stand-up comedian even like.
Yeah.
But the funny thing about this show is I've never had this happen before, or I've never seen it in this way before, where a character ends where me, Cassandra, actually begins, because she starts off way more closed up.
Do you think that was just by coincidence like that, or did the writing kind of adjust to you? Is that possible?
Oh, it is possible, because you talk. First of all, the writers get to know you.
Yeah.
Whether like one-on-one like this, or just by watching you like on set, and then we always would talk to the showrunner. She'd be like, "What's going on in your life? What is it that's like brimming?" And then they will find seeds of that, or like the whole thing of what you just talked about. I think because this started off as a politician's wife. They always knew she was a visual artist, and that first season was always meant to be about what will she do to actually accept that she's still this artist. Like she put it in retirement to raise her kids and all this. But I think the trajectory of where she went, I know they had to sit in the room and be like, you know what Cassie's great at? Like, we need to give her moments like that. Because you do want to lean into who you cast for the role, or be even more expansive in things. So yeah, I think it's a little bit of both.
What was it like to just, how many episodes?
Altogether, like 38 episodes.
38 episodes. Have you ever done somebody over that many, like 4 years?
No.
What was that like to just technically as an actor, just to evolve with the character?
I think it's such a funny thing because everyone around you has to evolve too. The writers and the directors, even the lighting, the sound, the cinematography, everything evolves with you, because at the end of a season, you can't help but want to grade yourself. So everyone comes back and tries to fill in the holes that were missing. So that's what it felt like to me. Like, oh, last season, but you know what we didn't explore? And then me as an actor, oh, Cassie, you know what you need to show more of, or writers, you know, and so it becomes that. And then the chemistry that you have with your fellow actors only gets deeper because you get more and more comfortable. You know, the process of acting, really every single discipline, even athleticism, is based on the balance of like rigidity and relaxation. And so when you're in acting school, so much of it's based on relaxation. It used to drive me crazy. I'm like, just give me the work. Give me the work. And then as I've gotten older, and I'm sure you've heard this a million times, as you get older, as an actor, you get better because you let go more.
Yes.
And acting now at this level of my life, I'm so excited because it's now a process of surrender, not a process of forcing.
And that must be so exciting to just be like, I know how to, I may not have this figured out entirely, but I know that I get to let it go. And this is another thing where I get to let it go in. Like, and you know that letting it go is going to work.
If it doesn't work, especially if you're doing TV film, you get to try it again. Like, why are we being so scared? Like, they said cut. I look forward to a great director being like, oh, I saw what you did. You know what would be great to add or think about this. It's a rare case to have a director who really knows how to talk to an actor in general. But when you do find one, it's like, I love it. You know, I had someone say once, like, I was like a Porsche. They're like, the way you can turn with the slightest, like we can throw anything at you and we can see that you've taken that new journey. I'm like, yes, you know, I'm like, tell me where the sun is. I want to lean towards that sun. I love that, but it doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
Instead, it's me directing me.
Well, right. Because that's the way most acting has to be, right? You have to almost direct yourself.
You know what acting feels like to me? Acting is the ability to read this person called the director. Like you're trying to like be a psychic. Like, so you're taking in his intonation, his physicality, because it's a really daunting task to be a director, to find the right words that will motivate the sort of thing you want, and to do it in a way that doesn't kill that person's soul. Because a director oftentimes has such an idea, and to have to face an actor and be like, why can't you read my mind? is frustrating because we're both reading a two-dimensional thing, trying to bring it to life in a 3D world. It's a process. So I have a lot of compassion for directors. But sometimes my newest thing has been really helpful, which is instead of being like, what would you want next? Or listening for that, I said, what did you just see? Okay. And so that's what you saw. Oh my God, that's what you saw. Oh, I thought I was doing X, Y, Z. So you don't want that.
That's actually good.
It's a backwards way to do it. And actually, people are better at saying, well, you know what it looked like? It looked like you were happy that he came home. But really, we want it to look like you're not so happy and you're restrained. I said, oh my God, I thought the whole scene was about, I can do it. The other way can be really difficult for a director to be like, do it this time, but remember.
You brilliantly figured out a way to retranslate or to actually translate. I mean, because it's basically like you're almost jumping ahead and just going to trying to figure out what he's thinking, he or she's thinking, and not even like having to deal with the inaccurate way this person is going to try and direct you.
Right, because I really am a technician in that I want to make your vision realized. I also have a vision too. So in this, we're definitely going to get a take of mine. And 98% of the time, you're going to want my idea. But in case that 2% chance shows up, I'm going to be like, I just want to make sure I go backwards now. Because the other way has been really unsatisfying.
But don't you feel angry that you have to do that?
Yes. However, now, so first of all, yes. And I feel not only angry, but it can feel disrespectful. Because you'll get directors who know exactly what camera lens, like they know everything about that camera. The way they put their notes together. But then it comes to the actor, and these people will say things like, you were orange and we're looking for burgundy, and I need to know what that means. And that's a real note. I've had even directors who are actors who have given horrible, like, I won't forget, there's a very famous director who gave me a quote about a famous general. And he's like, a general said this thing, but he says, at some point you have to, trippingly off the tongue, put the buttons back together. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this note?
It takes you the rest of your life to figure that one out.
What does that mean? Okay, and this man is an actor too. And you're like, what are we talking about? So you have to work backwards. And then I've had other directors who it feels like their whole mission was to like crush my soul. And so I've been in a situation like this where a director was just like, you're doing it wrong. And then finally he's like, fine, just do your version. And I do my version. And he's like, That was amazing.
What's the lesson there, right? What's the lesson?
I remember on an episode of Blue Bloods with Tom Selleck, and the man was not cruel to me, but he definitely was getting frustrated with me that I went, and I kept trying to say to him, you know what I think? No. You know what? And they would go to Tom Selleck and be like, Tom, what do you think? And Tom would give him a note to give to me, or Tom would give me, everyone's giving me a note. Though in this circumstance, I'm like, no one else has my particular set of circumstances and background to do this role. Okay, so I kept trying to do their notes. And then finally, the last one was mine. And Tom Selleck was like, oh, there's also that way of doing it. That's the way. And they invited me back several more times after that. And Tom Selleck was like, kid, you earned your place here. He's like, that is crazy. And I kept thinking to myself, but no one ever asked what was my perspective.
This to me makes me so mad, because it doesn't just make me mad about disrespect. It makes me mad about missed opportunity for you
And for me as an audience, for what we could, right?
Yes.
For what we could have gotten from you.
Yes.
If they knew what to do.
Yes.
With the artistry you have.
This is why I think on our show, when people would come work on Bel Air, they'd say this was the best professional experience of their life. And a part of that is that every time a guest star comes on, so there's the series regulars who are there every day. The guest stars come in 1 week, 2 weeks. And I would always be like, listen, what are your ideas? Like I am working from the position of, I know what it's like to be ignored. Yeah. Like whatever you have to offer, we're here to listen. Yeah. And people do their best work and they surprise you. Tyra Banks is on this season. And if you read what the scene is about, it seemed like, it was a good scene. What she brought to it, she brought a level of vulnerability. And I said to her, oh my God, people are gonna see this scene and be like, oh my God, that's me. I need to let that go. I said, therefore you've done your service, because I didn't read that in the script. And I was like, oh my God, Tyra Banks is actually a great actress. Yeah. Like what people, someone go write something for this one. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Isn't that a testament to like why it's a hit? It translates over.
It does. And people at home feel it too.
Yeah.
People feel the freedom and the love that is made. You know what? There's a story about, is it the Pope? Is it Gandhi or the Pope? Not Gandhi. I think it was the Pope for sure. Dalai Lama. One of these people. Okay. Just imagine a great spiritual person. And he's at a dinner and he's eating this food. And he's like, I'm having the weirdest thoughts while I'm eating this food. He's like, I feel like murderous thoughts. He's like, that's not even of my spirit. He said, I'd like to meet the people who made this food. And he went around and talked to each person and found that the person who cut up everything, sauteed everything, just found out that his wife was cheating on him with like his best friend. Wow. And he was having murderous thoughts. People can really feel what you are putting into the sauce.
Yes, yes. I want to go way back for a second, just for a second, because I heard you say this. When you got out of school, you knew it was going to take 100 auditions before you landed something. Like you were prepared for that. Mm-hmm. But you got a Spike Lee
like the
role,
first
like
audition
Inside
or something.
Man, one of the first auditions. But what gave you that realization of, because I feel like so many people don't have that initially. And I'm wondering do you think there's any correlation between realizing that and getting something fast? Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Of like, maybe you were relaxed. Maybe you were like, I'm going to take this slow. I'm going to, right?
Right. Don't expect anything.
And they sensed that or something.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. I felt like, you know what I felt like it was? It was that I went to an arts high school, so that's 4 years. Then I went to undergrad for 4 years. So that's 8 years. No one there at either one of these institutions thought this should be my profession or this is in my... So I have lived in a state of non-believership. Right. Then I get to NYU and Ron Van Loo and Zelda Fitchlander, who used to be the lead of that department, who's no longer with us. She was incredible woman. And they saw something in me like the first day. They were like, welcome, Cassandra Freeman, where have you been? And I was like, really? Okay, well, I'm not used to anybody believing in me. Okay. But so I think because I was set up to believe that I'm going to have to prove for so long that I'm here. Yeah. So I didn't have any proof that it should be Simple. The only proof I did have, though, is that if I was consistent and I went to as many places as possible. So when I was an undergrad, I never necessarily got cast in like the school play in undergrad, even though I was BFA and technically that was their job. I would do like the community theater, the traveling Shakespeare. Like, honey, anything that's happening, I would find my people who would be like, come here and play. And I remember I had a teacher who says, Cassie, you're going to go so far because the kids here keep getting cast in lead roles and they're going to think that's what it is to be in this profession. He's like, but you realize you have to work hard to make people see you. Yeah. And he's like, that's going to serve you well.
Yes.
And so I feel like maybe God gave, this movie, Inside Man with Spike Lee and Denzel Washington, sort of as like beginner's luck. And they say beginner's luck is to make you know you're on your right path. No matter how hard it is after that, you are on the right path. Because I already had so much hard path. Yeah. Some people have the flip. I was always the lead and I get off the bus from Iowa. And then it took 8 years. Mine was just in reverse.
Yes. And maybe that did serve you, right?
I think it definitely did. Also, I went through so many tragedies before that. It was like my final year of grad school. I was engaged to someone who I was with for like 3 or 4 years. That fell through. My dad died suddenly. My grandfather passed away. My neighbor who helped raise me passed away. So I was dejected. So I was also, I felt like the wings of like, I never came into this for fame, and that really got rid of it. It's like, no, I'm here for the journeyman spiritual process of whatever this thing is. And I'll do all the other things around it to support that passion because that's part of my calling.
If we can create an environment, a directorial approach, just a general situation where you can see yourself working and delivering the best that you have. Can you tell us some of the ingredients of that?
You know what? Before when I was just in communication with the director and the showrunner for this role, it was just like a meeting, which I thought, we're having a meeting? And I was like, they must meet an audition. And it's like, no, it's just a meeting. We want to talk to you. And they asked a lot of questions like, do I like working with young people, because that's going to be my life on this show. And I was like, I was a professor for 10 years at Fordham University and a whole bunch of other places. Like, they're like, and they're like, what's the one thing you think, everyone should know when they come on this show? And I said, I think every conversation has to start with, we picked you on purpose and there was no one else we ever thought of. That's part one.
Because that just lifts you right up, doesn't it?
Yes, it get rid of the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Okay, the unworthiness that so many creative people have in general, right?
Yes.
And so Morgan Cooper said this to me all the time these last 4 years. Even my last day of shooting, which was such an emotional day. Yeah. And it's in the mansion, and when you see the show in this episode, you'll see why it's even more emotional. And at the end of that, they're like, that's a series wrap for Cassandra Freeman, a series wrap, right? And I do a little speech, and then everyone comes over, like the whole cast, crew, everyone, hundreds of people, and everyone comes over and hugs me. And as I'm being hugged, Morgan Cooper said, it was always you. It was always you. And so I think the first part is that it's such a difficult career to be in anyway. But the first part is that people need to know that you are welcomed here and we wanted every part of you.
Yes.
Then the second part of it is, I think we should be comfortable enough to say, like, what's your way of working? Like, how can I help you to succeed here? Just like, because every person's different. Whoever you marry, whatever child you raise, everyone needs different things. You have 5 kids, all 5 kids are going to need a different way of moving through. So I think that's the second thing, like, what's your process? Because my process is, let me do 2 takes on my own before you say anything.
Right.
Like, why even give me a note if you haven't seen?
Yes.
And also, if you give me too many notes, you are stealing my opportunity to show the camera me discovering something. Acting on camera is just the audience seeing me discover things moment to moment. But if you say to me, hey, when you come in, make sure you notice the bookcase and notice the letter. Dude, I already know. Not only that, I'm going to notice other things. You just stole 4 moments from me. Yeah. That's what it feels like. It feels like thievery.
Yes.
When you take away my moment to discover truthfully versus me being like, hey, Dad, did you see me do what you just said?
I want directors to rewind and listen to that again. Please do that now.
Yeah, right?
Just that one thing, if they just take that out of this.
Let me just do my version first. And it might be totally wrong.
Right.
And or it's going to inspire you to be like, yes, and,
Yep.
or actually just do that again.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
do that again. And so, and you know, it's so great. I've worked with so many directors who have no ego, where they're like, Cass, I just trust what you're going to do. Let me just see what you're going to do. And I'll do it. And they'll be like, yep, Spike Lee. Just think, my first film, I won't forget. Spike was like, hey, so what's your idea for the scene? And I was like, oh, Nelson George also, he's an amazing documentarian, but he's an amazing director. He has such love and respect for actors. So does Spike Lee. And they're just like, what's your idea? And I say, yeah, I feel like it's this and that. He's like, you know, don't even tell me. Just show me. And then I'll do it. He's like, I love that idea. Do you want to do that again? Do you want to do something? It was mine. But not only that, there's a famous scene at the end of Inside Man where she's spinning the hat on her foot. I was just doing that on set. I was just laying there with the hat, playing with it. And I was thinking to myself, how can I get like another moment on screen for this character? And I'm just twirling the hat on my foot. And Spike's like, everybody stop. We have to reset up the cameras to do what she's doing. Because Spike and Nelson George believe the person you cast is going to come in with such an interesting perspective that reading books at home all day probably won't do. So that is wonderful as well. And the more an actor feels like they have autonomy over their character,
Yes.
the more you're going to get surprises. But what happens is directors feel like if they overgive notes, then the director feels like then now the director has agency and can say, this is my masterpiece.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not really how it works. You making me into your puppet actually causes the screen to look rigid. People are like wondering why it feels hollow, because you took out all of the instruments. Because on camera's different than stage. Camera, you want to get magic in the bottle, which is that first take, that first moment of aha. But now you killed all the ahas. There's not much magic. So that's why I'm like, in a perfect world, you're just setting up a scenario where people feel like, oh, I get to come here and play. It's the weirdest dynamic of play, but also you want to nail this thing. It's
Right.
It's a balance. And I think a lot of it has to do with actual reverence and respect for the person who you gave this role to.
Yes, because you said it. Wait, let me see if I wrote this down. I didn't, but wait, let me paraphrase it, and then you could say it. To get the best out of this art, it has to be about collaboration. It has to be.
And what you're talking about there is this idea that this actor's coming in and they're just waiting for me to tell them what to do right away. They, you know, like, because I am the author of this and everything.
And that's not reaping the benefits of collaboration that this art is presenting.
I also think it's funny. There are other disciplines where you respect every person. The actor oftentimes are not respected. It's like, so you trust the gaffer, you trust the DP, and you trust everyone has expertise. But this is what I say all the time, which is, so you're a director, you're lucky. I don't know how many films you've done, but it's rare. It's rare that you meet a director who's done more TV and film than the actor. The actor has like maybe 50, 100 credits. This director has 20, 30. Who do you think got more experience?
Yes.
So you are also denying someone on set who has so much experience. Like, that is their craft. Okay. And so no more than I'd come to you and be like, excuse me, director, you don't know what you're doing. Like, it doesn't even occur to me to do that. So you're missing out. Also, collaboration is the art of everyone has a picture in their head and trying to find the right words to get it out. It's a hard thing to do. I used to be a teacher, and I used to have a class called collaboration. It was actors, writers, directors, and stage managers. And one of the assignments was, so we'll put these 3-4 things together in a room. Okay, everyone sees it, right? Now we're going to tear it apart. And now we're going to bring the person who's out there in the hallway who has not seen it. One person has to try to tell that person, just with their words, how to reconstruct it.
Well, that's really good.
Honey, and this is what happens. It is rare anyone gets 100% their vision. Because your words, you find out like you don't know enough words, or you're not patient enough, or you never even ask the person, like, are you like a left brain person where you need to hear like 20 degrees, 40 degrees, 2 steps? Or are you much more of a feeling kind of person where I need to be like, oh, you're hot and go? Like, we don't even ask these questions.
Yeah.
You're just like, come in, walk towards my voice, stop, pick the black thing up, put it on.
Yeah. It's amazing. You'd figure by now we'd be getting this a little right?
But no one teaches collaboration.
No, they don't.
They teach you know what they do? Yeah. They teach that every discipline is the most important discipline.
Yes.
And so directors often are taught, you are the most important person in the room.
Yes.
Actors are like children.
Yes.
So you must treat them as so.
Yes.
It's crazy. Then
crazy.
you're like, the cinematographer is the god of the camera.
Yeah.
You better know all the lenses and tell him where to put. It's crazy.
Right.
And I get it if you're an auteur, but I won't forget, I was in Rwanda, Africa, shooting this movie. And the director was like, you're not giving it to me, you're not giving it to me. Then he made me do this whole monologue in front of him and this other Rwandese brilliant actor. We're doing it again. And then 2 days later, he calls me and he's like, Cassie, I just watched the film. You had it on the first take. He's like, I didn't realize that he didn't have like Digital Village. He was like 100 feet far away, judging my performance from so far away. And he's like, oh my God, I needed my own screen to see what you were doing. He's like, I'm so sorry, I was so harsh. He was so harsh.
At least he admitted that, right? I mean, at least he
He
because
did.
so many people probably have that revelation.
And keep it to themselves. Here's the other story I love to tell too, which is I won't forget this character. I had a soundtrack for this character, and it was like this song from Rihanna. Now I'm playing Rwandese like hero who helped in the genocide. Okay, this is my song. And the director's like, what are you doing to prepare? I said, I don't know, but I'm listening to this song. He's like, that is the wrong music. You should be listening to traditional Rwandese music.
Whoa.
First of all, I shouldn't even told you what I was doing.
Yeah.
Second of all, I don't have to do what you say.
That's right.
Third of all, so, but I'm like, okay, I'm young. I'm gonna listen to this music, but it didn't do anything. It's all about what does it do for you. It's not about the supposeds, right? Long story short, I meet this woman. I meet Tony Blair. I met so many amazing people while I was filming this movie, and we're out to dinner. And first, my hair was all shaved off. She had perfectly like long hair, like and she was like, why do you look this way? I'm like, because I look like you when you were at the age of. She's like, of course. And then her phone rings and her ringtone was that song.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
The ringtone. And I said, you like this song? She's like, oh yes. And I said, why?
If that happened to me, I would never trust anyone again except myself.
Exactly. And that's me.
It.
And that's why I do the way I do. Because I'm like, you can't tell me anything now.
Yeah.
That's exactly, I felt like that was God being like, no,
Yeah.
it's about your inspiration. It's about what makes you go. And I said, this is your song? She's like, yes, because every day when I was out in the bush, in the war, I thought when I am done, I am gonna wear lipstick, I'm gonna do my hair, I'm gonna wear heels. Like, I just wanna be in my full feminine state. And this was the song that just like kept running in my head.
Did you tell her your relationship to that song?
Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And she's like, yes, Cassie. She's like, she said so much of the things she loved is American music, American fashion. And I thought, and this is why the muses.
That's a great story.
We don't do this to writers. We only do this to actors.
Yep.
Let's wrong you to death.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes. This is too much gold going on here. There's too much gold. Wait. I want to hear about creativity. Is that the way to say it?
It's the electricity of creative people together. So it's creatricity.
Creatricity.
I know. Listen, it's a test. It's a test. Can you say it? Can you say it?
I love this.
Yeah.
But what is this? What made you start this?
I started this because back in the olden days when we still would meet, go into an office for an audition, my favorite people would be in the waiting room. And I'd be like, oh my God. And we would all be so excited to see each other. And then it'd be like, okay, Cassandra, come in. I'd be like, oh. And I kept saying for years, for like 3 or 4 years, who's going to throw us a party just for us to hang out together? Who's going to do that? And nobody would do it. And the only times we see each other is there or on the red carpet. Both places force you to talk very fast and move on.
Right.
But these are the places of people who intimately have witnessed your career, witnessed your journey, right? And I was like, why is there no place for us to gather? Also, like, where are the people who are like the Maya Angelou's and the Harry Belafonte's and the Marlon Brando's, the Paul Newman, like, the Gloria Steinems? Where are all these people of culture coming together trying to make the future of art? It didn't exist. So first I was like, I'm just going to throw something in my house. It was a black dress brunch, Black women who act. And it was so powerful because we got to spend time on what's working for you and what's not working for you in the industry. And how can we help each other if that's a thing? Oh, I need someone better to do my hair, my makeup. Oh, I was working with this director, this casting director. And I was like, ooh, let's do this again, but let's just open it to all actors, just actresses. Like 100 women showed up to that one. Wow. And at the end of that, I said, everyone go around the circle. And other than acting, what else is it that you do or you're calling? Everyone in there had a side hustle, a side passion, whether it was a puzzle company, a hair company, makeup, you name it, it was in that room. And I was like, guys, we all know people. I could just put together an organization where we keep meeting each other and I bring the best and the brightest in the room to unlock each other's doors. And so that's what Creatricity is. It's the merging of the creative ecosystem and the world of wealth as well. So at my parties, you might get the head of Universal, the CEO of Mattel, the head of Pinterest, of TikTok, the PR relations person for Soho House. It is the most, also like Grammy Award winning singers. Like it's the most amazing room, and we always have a focus. So like this year's focus is the Renaissance is now, creatives rising. And I brought in speakers to talk about the $1 trillion economy that's coming for the creators. And what are some fast ways for people to be a part of that? Because also what I feel like people like you and me, if people are always asking people like you and me to go out and speak to those who wish they could do what we do, who are talking to us who are doing it, who also need like information is, where's our summit? Our summit is not the Oscars. Where's our summit? So that is Creatricity. I'm constantly like looking out, like, what is it that we need? And then I meet amazing people. I say, will you come talk? 100% everyone who I asked to come. All I'm interested in is creating a platform for really smart people to talk to other really smart people so everyone can get their work made, not in 7 years, but maybe in 7 months. Like to accelerate people's visions. I think I was born to be everyone's greatest cheerleader and to see the best ending in people's lives.
And that's got to be benefiting you in so many ways that you never even imagined, right?
Yeah, like it's my calling. My calling is I get so excited when I meet interesting people. And also I see things in people and I'm like, I left another room with a guy with a podcast. I met him 5-6 years ago on the red carpet. And I was like, sir, these questions, you should have your own show. He's like, oh, that's so sweet. Next year I said, sir, these questions, you need to have your own show. Took him 6 years and now he finally launched his show. And I'm like, welcome to your future. Like, I feel like I'm that person for a lot of people where I'm like, oh, you don't know who you are. Can I tell you? Please run. I want people to win. When you win, the whole universe vibrates differently when you follow your calling.
I believe it. I believe it. Here's a quote from you. Having a strong point of view, even if it's a wrong point of view, shows talent and skill. This is what you said once. You're looking like, what? I said You did. But isn't this so true? It's just about, we're talking about acting here, of course, being confident in your choice. Instead of trying to, even if it's wrong, just make a solid, strong choice. I feel like people don't do that enough. Because forget about if it's right or wrong.
Right. Oh, Uta Hagen says you got to try one choice at a time.
Yes. It's
one choice at a time.
Yes.
And so even when I'm developing a character, developing a scene, sometimes as a cheat sheet, I'm like, oh, I feel so many things in this scene. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do one emotion throughout the whole thing and then do another. So I'm going to do this whole scene just angry. Whole time just sad. The whole time like I'm vulnerable. Because even in this interview, there's so many emotions that you go through. And then once you can score a script of being like, I think this is the moment where this happens. I think this, and then you let it go. But sometimes what happens is you feel like you need to do everything all at once. At all the same time throughout and what you get is muddiness and you get melodrama because of it. But it's nothing like when I know the one thing I want to do in a moment, just one moment, one beat. Oh my God. When an actor knows exactly what they want to do, they hit every consonant because that is what happens to us when we are definitive, like we are definitely sure. But what happens is people aren't sure. So then it becomes this like moody thing, So success leaves breadcrumbs, and the breadcrumbs to me show when I am confident with my doing, the acting is not only is it more powerful, it's way more fun to do.
Yes.
And I can do it over and over again. And it makes the director very clear on him being like, I saw what you did.
Yes.
You did this. I'm actually thinking is this. Okay. But when it's in between, it's muddy.
Yes. And let's talk to the writers out there for a second and just say it starts with the writing, the clarity of action in the writing.
Clarity of intent in the writing will help you do that, right?
Nothing like a great writer makes memorization simple.
Yes.
Difficult writing makes it difficult to.
You're wondering, why am I not latching on to these words?
Yeah.
Right?
When you don't latch onto words, after a while, you're like, maybe it's not me. Maybe it's not me. Because subtext is what you're acting, not the words.
Yes.
So the words are just a tarp to cover up a lot of emotionality.
Well said.
All right, this is the last quote from you. Be less attached to the job and be more attached to what you want to create.
That way, that will keep the love alive in you in this journey.
And that way, you'll never be desperate.
I said that.
You said that.
She is smart.
But think about that. That's why I really wanted to say this on this. I wanted people to hear this. Because what you're saying there is, if your North Star is what you want to do,
All these rejections, it's not going to matter much.
That's right. They don't. They sincerely don't, and they won't. Also, my career is based off, you know what my job is when I come in the room? My job is, okay, these are the words you want me to say. Okay, I got such a fun idea. I'm going to show it to you. Here's my fun idea. I hope you are up tonight, upset that you can't give me the role, or at home tonight being like, I cannot wait to work with her. I'm gonna call. Either way, I want you to be up like, I can't wait. That's actually my job. My job, it's not a satisfying goal for it to be just get the role. Here's the other thing too. Casting directors, and especially since my life is about the casting director, especially the casting director, if you don't get the job, she's not like, ugh, Cassie didn't get the job. She's like, oh, she didn't get that? There's another job coming up that she should have.
You're on her mind.
Oh, wait a minute. She didn't get that one? The way casting directors talk about me to directors tells me everything I need to know about this career, which is there's no doubt that I have talent. There's no doubt about that. It's just about what role shows up at the perfect time that will fulfill all the gifts I have, because the gift is there. So the number one way for actors, for any creator not to go crazy is you were born to do many art forms. So acting can be very frustrating because I can only do it if you call me up. Guess what? I am a painter, okay? And I will paint 3 things at the same time. I also write, I also journal. I'm almost very spiritual. I have my company. I have a kid who I'm raising. There's so many things that I get to pour my passion into that by the time the phone rings, I'm like, oh, you're interrupting me. Like that's what happened with Bel Air. They were interrupting me because I was building, that was the beginning of creativity. And I remember being like, I think I'm done with acting. Like, this is my calling. And then they called me up and I was like, yeah, that's nice, but I'm also going to Greece, okay? So then I go to Greece. My people, you can't go to Greece, you're up for this role. I'm like, well, they're gonna have to call. They called me up in Greece. They had to wake up 14 hours earlier in LA to put together the chemistry read for this. And
so
at that point,
chasing after you.
Yes, let them chase.
Yeah.
But we're supposed to chase our calling, our passion.
They're chasing after you when you're chasing after your calling.
Yes.
Boom.
Boom. And
That's
here's
it.
Because it's like any man, it's like any love story.
Yeah.
Your
Yes.
begging
That's
is
it.
not attractive, okay?
That's
Me
it.
being busy is attractive. But also it keeps me from being, overly neurotic in the room.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, I didn't say the line right. Guess what? People know if they want to hire me for that role in the first second. And the last thing I'll say, and I'll be quiet, which is, the art of acting isn't even necessarily always about your talent. This career is about 2% my talent. The other part of it is, if I wrote a movie based on my father's life, even if Morgan Freeman walks in, if he doesn't feel like the essence of Mac Freeman, he ain't getting a role.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne comes in. I don't know. Denzel Washington. I don't know. There might be a new actor who walks in off the street and I'm like, that is him.
Yep.
So it's the essence that does the job. So what does that mean? I need to take care of my essence. My essence is connected to my calling, my passions. And if you write down the 10 other jobs, the 10 other careers you could have had, you will see that there is a through line that connects them all. And then you throw that through line a little bit into everything you do. So I'm clear on many callings, and I do my best work trying to get it out all over the place.
Cassandra Freeman, this was gold overload. Please come back.
Please have me back. Thank you.
Back to One is a production of Filmmaker Magazine, which is a publication of The Gotham. Listen to back episodes of this podcast at filmmakermagazine.com or wherever you get your podcasts.